Egypt time travel proof. High technology vehicle symbols discovered inside Egyptian temple. Well, we know that the Temple of Seti at Abidos, Egypt, was begun by Pharaoh Seti I, and it was finished by his son, the great Ramesses II. And you can see the Temple of Seti here basically looks quite modern. I mean, look at this. It's a beautiful building. And it's, of course, been refurbished on top. And this is the lentil piece that shows you what you have here, things like flying craft, helicopters, even submarines, airplanes, jet airplanes, and all types of craft that you see that we have, well, maybe in the past 80 to 100 years, the most. And how were they on this temple? They were there because, obviously, people were using them at one point. Now, from one of my past videos a couple of years ago, when I did research on this, I happened by chance concerning a pharaoh named Nectanebo. He was one of the pharaohs that destroyed a lot of artifacts having to do with things he thought were pagan idolatry, but he did not destroy this temple in Abidos with the lentil of the aircraft, the spaceships and aircraft, because he claimed that this was the area where the space people came from. People from outside of Earth had landed here, he claimed, and this is the place that he wanted to keep preserved. This is Pharaoh Nectanebo. One of his descendants was actually the biological father of Alexander the Great of Greece. That's why when Alexander the Great went to visit Egypt and he asked the high priests of Egypt there, "Am I the son of a god?" They said, "Yes, you are," because they knew the truth that Nectanebo, that went to flee Egypt because they wanted to assassinate him. He went to flee Egypt. He went to northern Greece, to Salonika. It stayed at the castle, the palace of Philip, Alexander's father. Well, Philip was away on the conquests. Philip came back and found his wife pregnant, and she claims that she was impregnated by a god. And the result was Alexander the Great. So when Alexander went to Egypt, yes, he was told he was a god because the high priest there knew the truth that he was the son of Nectanebo, the last proper pharaoh of Egypt. And they all thought of the pharaoh as being a god. Now we know after that, of course, Egypt was taken over by Alexander the Great. This was about 330 BC. Egypt became totally Greek after that, as did the whole area. And by the way, he did go to, Alexander the Great did go to Israel, where he was given the prophecy given by the prophet Daniel, who was told by Archangel Gabriel that a little horn would come out of Greece and would put an end to the Persian Empire, and that's exactly what happened. But going back to this now, this is the lentil that we see in Abidos, Egypt. This is by Matthew Kirkham on Express UK. Egypt's pyramids reveal extraordinary clues that the ancient Egyptians had high modern technology to build the structures. Not only build the structures, but to fly around. The Aegean, Aegyptos in Greek means flying around the Aegean. It's a compound word, Aei, meaning Aegean, Iptamenos, meaning flying. Egypt means flying through the Aegean. That's the meaning of the word Egypt. So yeah, they were flying. They were flying all over the place. And this was, it's a proof in their name. And it's a proof of what we see in the lentil here. Now, for conspiracy theorists and pseudo-archaeologists, they have been hailed as unequivocal proof that the ancient Egyptians were visited by beings who brought them advanced technology from the future. or maybe the past. Maybe the past were even more advanced than we are now, or in the future will be. Now, the Great Pyramid is probably the most analyzed, studied, and measured structure in history, and is still a mystery. Now, however, despite all of the attention and efforts focused on it, it still retains much of its legendary air of mystery as to how, when, and why it was built. And a lot of people believe that it's a lot older than people claim it is. Now, there are no contemporary records of its construction and very few historical records of it until thousands of years after the era when it was supposedly built. According to a documentary, clues about the ancient society having knowledge of modern technology to build their structures have emerged. This is on the next Netflix series, The Pyramid Code. It was revealed that a fascinating incident occurred when a chunk of stone fell off a lintel at Abidos temple in one of the oldest cities in ancient Egypt. And the images resembled, as we see, the helicopter and other advanced-looking vehicles. Helicopters, spacecraft, jet engines were revealed under the stern. Now, a 3,000-year-old hieroglyphs found in Seti's temple in Abidos, said to depict nothing less than a helicopter, plane, futuristic crafts among the unusual insects, symbols, and snakes, and writings have become known as the helicopter hieroglyphs among pseudoscience and conspiracy circles, many supporters of the theory saying that if the ancient civilization was putting helicopters and modern spacecraft in their artwork, then they must have seen them, or at least pictures of them. Well, obviously, I believe that's true. And also the Pharaoh Nectanebo believed that was true, and that these were the crafts used by the advanced beings that came from elsewhere, and not from Earth. That's why he kept this thing intact as a record. Now, the helicopter image is the result of carved stone being reused over time. The initial carving was made during the reign of Seti I and translates to "he who repulses the 9 enemies of Egypt," whatever that means. Now, this carving was later filled in with plaster and recarved during the reign of Ramesses II, his son, with the title "He who protects Egypt and overthrows the foreign countries." There we go. So he who protects Egypt and overthrows the foreign countries. So obviously they believed that the people who used these craft were their protectors, the protectors of the area of Egypt. Over time, the plaster was rolled away, leaving both inscriptions partially visible, creating a palimpsest-like effects overlaying the hieroglyphs, and the hieroglyphs have been interpreted as an out-of-place artifact depicting helicopter as well as other examples of modern technology, modern craft. The documentary reveals claims that further knowledge about Egypt's structures is being kept hidden from the public. And the narrator says, "Are Egyptian authorities preventing us from learning the truth about our past? These image symbols symbolize mechanics that did not exist at that time. So are we are led to believe." And the narrator adds, "Nowadays, Egyptian tour guides are explicitly instructed not to point these things out to tourists." Well, why not? I mean, they're there. And I'm sure a lot of people, before they go to visit Egypt, obviously it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And you want to learn as much as you can as to what you're going to see. So before you visit certain locations, you do research on it, see what you want to see, make sure you look at it, take pictures of it, and get as much information and appreciate what you're visiting and looking at. So of course they're going to know what they're going to be looking at. They're going to know that in the Seti temple, they're going to see this Abidos relief of these ancient craft, obviously. So I'll leave a link below for you for this on Express UK. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.